If you enjoy this, please like, subscribe, and click that bell to turn notifications on. And if you have any feedback, leave a comment. Oh, and before we get into it, yes, I have seen the black suit Dee Dee will be donning in Season 2. Not only does it look pretty good, for an MCU Daredevil suit at least, but in the biggest twist of all time, it actually has the double D's on the chest. It's a miracle. Still not sure what's with it being the red suit painted black if he's shown to already have a black version of the costume, but now I'm just being nitpicky, so I'll stop. With that all out of the way, let's get to the review. With Interest is the first completely self-contained episode of Daredevil Born Again, and it's honestly kind of rough. Look, I love the episodic format as much as the next guy, but this episode turns the very simple premise of a bank heist into a confusing, convoluted mess. The bank manager isn't in, so I guess nobody has access to the vault, something the robbers should have been aware of based on the episode's twist. Two of the thieves take their mask off in front of an open window where, I don't know, you'd think a sniper would be posted or something, or that the helicopter that we see fly around multiple times throughout the episode would spot them, which means they could be identified quite easily. Based on the episode, these robbers are just really bad at their jobs. And the problem with that is it obviously wasn't an intentional choice to make them incompetent. Well, at least not completely. It's pretty clear the writing is trying to sell them as an actual threat, outside of the asshole written in so that Matt could make his way back into the bank, when that's just not the truth. Then there's Matt doing so many things that should give away his identity, it's not even funny. Oh, and Kamala Khan's father is here, meaning the whole time the sexual harassment allegations against his actor were in the back of my mind. Because that is the only thing that seemed to make his casting in this show relevant in the first place. They even had him give out candy here, when the allegations are about him preying on an underage girl. Was Disney trolling us in the most tasteless way possible with this? Look, elephant in the room aside, the episode has some bright spots, but overall it's completely skippable, and is probably not worth a rewatch. Especially since the sloppy execution highlights all the show's worst qualities. Plus, if you need an actually good Saint Paddy's Day episode a whole week or so after the holiday itself, for some reason, just watch Always Sunny's Charlie Catches a Leprechaun.
Move this man!
So that tweet was either a total lie, or whoever wrote it somehow missed some of the most in-your-face religious themes I've ever seen in my life. It only took 6 episodes, but Born Again now has not just one, but 2 genuinely good fight scenes. And they happen simultaneously. Sorry, Bozai fight sequence. You almost had something, but the over-reliance on CGI and very obvious attempts to hide those effects with even more CGI really hurt what was at times a solid action scene. I won't lie, episode 5 had me worried. I've made it no secret I think the first episode is pretty ass, but ever since, the show's been solid. Or at least it was up until the 5th episode, which was full of lazy writing and the most unnecessary guest appearance of all time, somehow beating No Way Home's Matt Murdock cameo in that department. Then I watched episode 6, and the show was immediately back on track. I've been pretty impressed with the series' approach to Muse. The build-up that ramps up with every subsequent episode, and the perfect culmination of it all. With the admittedly pretty obvious reveal that he paints with his victim's blood being done quite well. Even if I have to dock points for him not doing a selfie with the ladies he killed, like in the comic. To anyone involved with the show, I assure you, you could have kept that quirky moment and still made it creepy, with the reveal of the corpses in front of his mural after. Hell, can you imagine him taking a selfie with the art and their corpses right behind him after such a silly scene? And say doing something like sending that to Fisk? This show could learn a thing from Art the Clown on how to create a horrifying yet humorous villain. One thing I will fully admit is I didn't realize Muse would end up acting as the driving force that would push not just Matt, but also Fisk to be more proactive in their approach to pursuing their respective brands of justice. But that just adds to the ways in which the show has pleasantly surprised me. Speaking of, this may be the first episode in which I've had no issue with any of the BB reports feeling either out of place or just self-indulgent. Every inclusion here felt like it naturally flowed with the story, with the first one being a fun reintroduction to the swordsman, who hasn't been seen since Hawkeye, and whose appearances here, both masked and unmasked, slide wonderfully into the episode's narrative, while the BB report segments do a great job of reinforcing the themes of the series, as well as the episode itself. It also skews quite heavily into horror. And look, while it's not something that will ever rival the best of the genre, much of that horror being executed quite simply, if effectively, I had a really good time with it. I'm also going to reserve my judgment on Cole. It seems like there may be more to him than the show is letting on, especially with him being a detective who transferred from Chicago to New York. Something lifted right out of the comics. That, or I'm huffing straight copium because as much as I enjoy the show's interrogation into the justice system and law enforcement, I'm still not very ecstatic about the prospect of completely assassinating Cole's character to do it. This is just a really solid episode in return to form, with Vanessa continuing to be even more interesting here than she has ever been. The way Fisk and Matt's journeys essentially mirror each other throughout. Action scenes that are not only incredibly well choreographed, shot, and edited, but which act as a wonderful climax to the episode's narrative, with both being used as a vehicle to characterize the show's protagonist and antagonist. Sure, it has its problems, like the awful fucking CGI returning, but they're far outweighed by the positives. Let's just hope it can keep it up with the next 3 episodes. Also, let it be known I don't hate Heather. I just feel like her, Kirsten, and Cherry all need a bit more focus. I mean, how can I hate someone who says something this bonkers?
Well, I've been thinking maybe you would consider setting me up with someone like, I don't know, Frank Castle?
That said, until next time, this is Mad Silence, signing out.